in every country, civilian security networks to police the people policing the people. And they'll start to suggest it everywhere. He's just the guy who's triggering it in America. And because of his worldwide kind of fame, he has an ability to sell it in other countries as well. So it's not just Brzezinski. This guy, George Soros, is a notorious Illuminati manipulator, not least in financial terms, and he's one of the major funders and backers of Obama as well. And his networks were behind the spontaneous public revolutions in Ukraine and Georgia, after which, like in Georgia, Brzezinski and Soros put their puppet, this guy, Saakashvili, on the throne as president. He's also fundamentally connected to this guy, Tony Rezko, who's currently in jail for corruption. They did a land deal together, and he was one of the major funders of his political career. And he was put in jail for so controlling the political system of Chicago that when business people wanted to do business with the state, he was asking for them to pay him a fee to allow them to do work and business with the state when he officially had nothing to do with the state. He's in prison for it now. These are the kind of people Obama's around. This guy, William Ayers, Bill Ayers, was, as admitted, being involved in doing terrorist bombing through a group called the Weathermen a few decades ago, back in the 60s it was, and Obama's political career was started in this guy's house with another associate from the Weather Underground that was back in the 60s planting bombs in America. He's fundamentally connected to this organization called Acorn, which is now being prosecuted by a stream of American states for producing fake representations for voting registrations. And of course, the people they were falsely voting would be falsely voting for him, and he's fundamentally connected to them. It's a deeply corrupt organization, and appropriately, Obama is closely connected to it because he's actually a deeply corrupt man. That's how you prosper in Chicago. He goes with the territory. And the other thing, hey, I wonder if the Keystones are writing this down. You write this down, because where I'm going to now. Around, because it's about time someone bloody said it. There is a political system, I'm not talking about Jewish people, it's not the same thing. There is a political system orchestrated, created and controlled to this day by the Rothschilds called Zionism. It is a tyrannical system which has no mercy on anyone that gets in its way. The Obama administration and around Obama is awash with people who are of the Zionist persuasion. His chief of staff at the White House is Rahm Emanuel, who has served in the Israeli army. He's an American. What's going on? And his father was involved in a notorious terrorist group called Irgun, which, along with other terrorist groups, bombed Israel into existence in 1948. I don't think there is going to be fair play on American policy in the Middle East. I don't feel it. And I would emphasize this because this is never publicized. Zionism is a political system. It is not a race. And there are many, many Jewish people, look at these alone, who fundamentally oppose Zionism. You know, it's like saying the Liberal Party in Australia is the American people. All right, it's a bit more than that, but it's along the same line. It is the Australian people. Or the Labour Party is the Australian people. No, it's not. It's a political system, a political belief. And what they've done brilliantly is to equate a political belief with a race, so when you challenge the political belief and what it does, you are called a racist. I don't care. It's about time somebody talked about this stuff and stopped being frightened of it. And if people realized Zionism is the creation of the Rothschild family, who are a major, major Illuminati family, along with many others, and interact with very closely in many ways with the Rockefellers. It was the Rothschilds who spent millions, £6 million pounds back in the 50s to build the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. It was the Rothschilds who built the Supreme Court in Jerusalem, with all its massive Illuminati symbolism, which is well shown on the internet. This is a fiefdom of the Rothschilds, and Zionism has caused more mayhem and strife for Jewish people as anybody else. Why is there no peace in Israel? Because for Jewish people as well as Palestinians, because Zionism doesn't want it. That's why. Because there are plans to use Israel and use the Jewish people in Israel to manifest a massive conflict which will lead to a third world war, which is what these guys are after. And Rahm Emanuel is the man who pulls the strings of Barack Obama, along with this guy, another Zionist, called David Axelrod. He was the guy that ran the whole of... masterminded the whole of the election campaign, both against Hillary Clinton and against John McCain. And it's Axelrod that is responsible for the words that appear on the teleprompter screens that Barack Obama reads. And he reads them so robot-like, in terms of not having a thought in his head, that last week, maybe 10 days ago, he thanked himself for inviting everybody to a reception because someone else's speech was on the teleprompter instead of his by mistake. It was the Irish Prime Minister was there on St. Patrick's Day. People are starting to call him the teleprompter president. It's so bloody obvious. That's why he never looks ahead. It's right, left, because that's where the screens are. Hello, Barack, over here. Sorry, I'm reading. And this is why you're getting the policy of Obama saying Palestinian refugees belong to their own state and do not have a literal right to return to Israel. He's talking about the people who fled, 800,000 of them, at the time of the bombing Israel into existence in 1948, and have never allowed to come back to their own land. People forget about this. White phosphorus, pepper bombing, the most crowded piece of land on the planet, the Gaza Strip. We don't target civilians, we just bomb where they live. Unbelievable. We're just protecting ourselves. No, it's a slaughter. And now I'm hearing, oh, there's a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment. Do you know something? I have a way round that. Stop slaughtering innocent people from the sky, okay? End of story. And it will go away. And this is important. This is important for what's planned to come. We now have a situation in Israel where the extreme of the extreme has taken the reins of power. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's talked about, these are his words summarized, he wants a violent reoccupation of Gaza to liquidate its elected government. And he pledges to thwart the Iranian threat once and for all. He's now got this guy, Lieberman, as his foreign minister, and this man's so far right, he topples over, right? And he's got Barak as the defense minister in this new government, and he was defense minister that oversaw the pepper bombing of the Gaza Strip. And this is Martin van Creveld. He's a well-known historian in Israel, and this is what he said publicly. We possess several hundred atomic warheads and rockets and can launch them at targets in all directions, perhaps even at Rome. Most European capitals are targets for our Air Force. We have the capability to take the world down with us, and I can assure you that that will happen before Israel goes under. They have a policy of not saying if they've got nuclear weapons or they haven't. They just don't talk about it. And a guy called Mordecai Vanunu, a wonderful Israeli man, went to jail for, I think it was 18 years, for exposing the fact publicly that they did have nuclear weapons. And now we've got this thing, oh, Iran's going to have nuclear weapons. What? The idea, and we're seeing it almost complete now, from the start,